James, welcome back to the Mind Your Biscuits podcast.
Hello, welcome to be back. I mean, can we start?
Are you,
are
are you welcoming me to my own podcast?
Yes. I just want to make sure that you're also welcome to your own
Thank
podcast.
you.
My gosh, podcast 101.
Is that your sleep timer?
Yes, it is.
Classic. Maybe I should have timers.
I used to have them, and they were effective for like 3 days, but like I just found that I get annoyed by them, and without even thinking, I just kind of turn them off.
I don't listen to my timers anymore. Like, that's the issue. I have one for bedtime. It's usually around 8:40.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
Because I like to prep before I go to bed. Like, I have a lot of things. I want to close out some tabs on my laptop, close out some tabs on my mind. And when I do the full rundown of my nightly routine, it can take an hour or more.
That sounds pretty standard, though. It sounds like a good rundown. It has to be a long rundown.
Like, it sounds like a lot, though. An hour.
Well, I mean, it's better than what I do. Like, I'm going like 100 miles an hour, and then I hit a wall, and then I just... No, quite literally.
And then you
just
crumple.
I just fall asleep, yeah.
And then you just crumple.
And then my mornings are also equally terrible, too, where it's just, I roll out of bed and I just get up.
What?
But I'm trying to do a lot better with that. And I know we talked about journaling last time, and it's been helpful so far in that it's been pointing out a lot of problems.
Oh?
I've been having
Okay.
just with the routine things in general. I've just been very not intentional, I guess, with how I go about my day-to-days. And of course, the most important things that I've found are the morning rituals and the evening rituals are the most important things. At the very least, not just rolling out of bed, going in for a quick rinse, and then out the door. I should probably include like a podcast I'm listening to, play that in the mornings or something like that. Or instead of waking up to a blaring alarm clock, maybe wake up to some music instead.
Because you have some systems that are like coordinated, like your lights go on.
I started doing that, and that's been a huge help for sure. So during my mornings now, and I recently just started the music thing, but my mornings are no longer just like phone alarm at 6:15. I have a sequence of lights that slowly turn on in the mornings. I have my blinds, like I put motors on them to where they open when the sun comes up. So it's like, that's actually, I did that for the first time probably a couple of weeks ago. I'm still messing around with the settings, but it's different. It's a lot different.
Okay. So. I've got to get better on routines. Not that I'm bad on routines, but I feel like mine don't necessarily challenge me. And I guess there's some discussion to be had about whether a routine should propel you into the day or whether it should ease you into the day.
Sure.
And I'm not sure where I stand on that because I've before been like, yeah, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna work out, and then usually back in the day I was a workout in the evening girly. So if once I switched to the mornings, what happened is I would work out in the evenings and I'd get immediately tired. I would take a shower, fall asleep. It was impeccable, really, truly amazing. But then due to my schedule, I try to make it in the morning. But then because I made that habit loop already, I would work out at like 6 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m., and then be immediately tired and be tired the rest of the day because I did my work at the beginning. So I was just testing some things out. Right now I've been reading in the morning, and that's been lovely. I'm at 18 books, James, for the year.
For the year?
In
so
2025.
Far? Oh my goodness. What's the goal?
42.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That's about, yeah.
That's a lot.
You're pretty much on par.
I'm tracking it.
Actually, you're ahead of schedule.
I'm ahead of schedule. I'm tracking it on Goodreads just because also I think that at the end of the year, my motivation, whatever you want to call it, will be depleted or just end. So I'm trying to get as much of it done now as I possibly can. You know, it's either hard now or it's hard later type of mindset.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, thanks. So it's been fun, but that's what I'm doing in the mornings. But then I'm also sometimes reading at lunch and sometimes reading in the evenings. I'm like, how much reading does one person need to do? Like, shouldn't I go outside at some point? You know what I mean? Like, there's other things I could incorporate.
You can read outside. And I'm not joking about that.
No, okay, but I do
Have you
that
done that?
sometimes. Yeah, I do that on the weekends with
Okay.
my cat and my dog and Bradley.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're all sitting on the porch, and it's just like a very
Oh yeah,
cozy time.
yeah, yeah. Y'all bought chairs
We bought those
at
are
one
some
point. Yes,
nice.
they are.
There's some
They
nice
are actually.
chairs. Those are
Yeah,
good. Good
that's a good
investment.
idea.
I sometimes have like reading dates with my friends too. So like
Mm,
I'll invite them over and we can be in each other's company and proximity, but I don't have to talk and they don't have to talk, even
right,
though I'm really good at just like chatting away
right.
and yapping. But I'm trying to do other stuff too. But there was a concept that I read about
Mm-hmm.
recently on LinkedIn that was like A, B, and C routines. And A is like, ideally, I would do this. B routine is like, okay, maybe something came up and I can't do the full thing, but this is a good alternative. And C is when everything hits the fan. This is the bare minimum that I should be doing to just get through my day
Okay.
and not get sucked into whatever else
Mm-hmm.
is taking up and occupying space in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
I've been noodling on that.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that.
Do you have like an outline, or any ideas of what your A, B, and C's would be? Like, let's start with C and be like, at the absolute minimum, this is what I'm going to
You
be doing.
okay? Well, I don't even do the absolute minimum now, so that's the issue. Is I
Okay, all
have to
right.
create my minimum because my minimum ideally would be okay. I guess I started with my minimum and ideal. That's an oxymoron. Ideally, I'll
Your
start
ideal
there.
minimum.
My ideal
There you
minimum.
go.
I want to walk Max, my dog,
Okay.
every day because I feel like he just maybe gets bored at home. I did get a senior dog though, so that way he would just nap. And he does
Mm-hmm.
really good at that.
Yeah,
He's really good at
I'm
it.
jealous.
I know. Oh, to be a cat or dog. Oh, to be a pet in this society, especially under my roof. Like I shower my pets with love
Yeah.
and attention. I just don't walk them. Um, no, I'll
Well, but
get
I mean, like,
better.
well, I mean, if you're napping, why would you walk?
That's what I'm
I mean, I'm just kind of, I
saying.
can walk in my dreams.
That's okay.
That'd
That's
be.
fair. He won't understand that because he's a dog. But so so ideally,
Mm.
I guess I'll start there. I want to walk Max in the morning. And also, have you heard of like circ walks, like circadian rhythm walks?
No.
So it essentially means whenever you wake up, you try and take a walk outside or be in the sun as close to the time that you wake up and as the sun rises. And that helps set your internal clock to kind of sync up with your natural
Okay.
rhythm of life and flow and like being able to wake up at a certain time and fall
Mm-hmm.
asleep at a certain time. So Liz Moody talks about this on her podcast a lot. I love her. I
Mm-hmm.
love her work. And she has a book called 100 Ways to Change Your Life. I read that. This is one of those tips in there. There's a whole bunch of science around it, but basically taking a walk in the morning, taking a walk in the evening is really good for your overall health, for
Mm-hmm.
your sleep, just setting you up for success. And I've been always wanting to do it, but okay, in the mornings, I have excuses. That's the issue. In the mornings, I am a little bit groggy, which is not bad, but I don't really want to change immediately into something and just walk Max
Mm-hmm.
and then walk for like 10 or 15 minutes. I kind of I don't know, find my outfit for the day and then
Right.
like eat a little bit of nosh
Right.
and go and do that. But maybe I should just have like a going out with Max
Mm-hmm.
attire that I default to
Mm-hmm.
so that removes that
Mm-hmm.
excuse. That's what my mom does with our family dog, Henry.
Yeah.
He's so precious and fat. I love him. We call it Henry Pants.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she's going on a walk, they usually are walking through trees, mud, dirt, off roading, gravel, that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So has Henry pants that she puts on every time that they want to walk with Henry.
Yeah.
So it's like her default.
Yeah.
So I should do that. So I guess minimum is opening the door and letting Max go out in the yard. That's why we got an apartment with a yard
Yeah.
anyways, because I knew I was lazy.
I think one thing that I've heard of people doing to kind of get into that sort of rhythm is instead of having yourself look forward to doing the whole wake up thing or doing the whole walk thing, maybe have a certain end goal or a certain routine that isn't based off of the waking up or the walking, but involves inevitably that. So, for example, like maybe in the mornings, we all like having coffee in the mornings, for example. Maybe to help you get up, maybe if there's like a local like coffee shop nearby, you can take Max and walk to the coffee shop and get coffee and and then walk back. So that way you're framing the responsibility of getting up and walking around something that you want to do.
That's
It's kind of like a
a
mind
mind
thing.
trick,
Yeah.
a Jedi mind trick.
Right.
I kind of like that. My thing, do you ever feel like sometimes your goals are in conflict with each other? Like, I want to wake
Yeah.
up and do this thing, but then if I go get coffee, it's going to cost money. My
Sure.
coffee
Sure. Yeah.
today was quite expensive. And I like to support local, but when I paid, it made me not want to support local.
Mm-hmm.
It made me want to find a very cheap option and save my money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, but I kept going back. It was
Mm-hmm.
fine. I really like that
Well,
local coffee
maybe like
shop.
is there a certain spot around your area where you can like I don't know like watch the sunrise or something like that, or like it's really nice in that area.
I wish I was sentimental or cared about things. No, the coffee thing it would work for me, honestly. The coffee thing would work. I think that's a good idea, but maybe I should just plan out what I want to spend money on.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to spend it on something that will increase my health, wealth, or happiness in
Mm-hmm.
some way, and that could definitely be part of it. But what you're talking about, that reminded me of like habit stacking and temptation bundling. Have you heard of those two
No, I've
things?
not.
I think it was in Atomic Habits that I first
Okay.
heard about it from James Clear. He's the author. Habit stacking is you already have probably a couple routines or things that you do on default that you don't really question
Mm-hmm.
or consider an issue. And so habit stacking is saying, okay, incorporate something within that space between your next action.
Okay, sure, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
this action prompts the next action, like
Right.
the domino effect, but like not making it too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Habit stacking would be like, okay, every time I brush my teeth, as I'm brushing my teeth, I set out my skincare products because that's going to be the next step. Because usually I'll brush my teeth, that's not an issue, but then washing my face and doing my full skincare routine sometimes is a challenge. So that
Mm-hmm.
would be habit stacking.
So I think I've unintentionally have done that, but it wasn't centered around habits, but it served as like a reminder of hey, I need to do something. So, for example, if I need to like cash a check or something like that, or I need to go to the post office to send something out, I always have to have my wallet with me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I'll put my wallet, put it on top of the thing that I need to take care of, and that reminds me in the mornings what I need to do. But I've never thought about extending that from reminders to doing like habitual things or building habits
Yeah.
or anything like that. So that'll be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I've only done it with a couple things, but one thing I've done more so is the temptation bundling. So it's
Hmm.
pairing something that you really like to do, and maybe it is somewhat detrimental to your goals, and pairing it with something that would be beneficial to your goals. For
Okay.
example, right now I'm really in my reading phase, so I like cozying up on the couch with a book. But today I was like, oh, I was going to work out. So I just took my book and went to the treadmill at the gym and I just read the entire time. I was supposed to do a strength workout, like a leg
Hmm.
workout. Not happening. No, I didn't. No,
Yeah.
couldn't be me. I instead just walked for like 45 minutes and I read. So I got to do both things that I really like. One of the other things that I do is usually on a Sunday morning or just like an early morning, maybe even during the weekday, I'll play a podcast. I love listening to podcasts,
Hmm.
and I'll just put my headphones in, and then I just clean up around the house. I don't dislike cleaning, but I really dislike doing the dishes
Hmm.
specifically. So I can do the dishes while I listen to a podcast. So it's
Hmm.
pairing maybe a habit you want to form with a habit
Okay.
or something that you already like to do.
Okay. That explains why I like listening to music while I'm cleaning as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just something that I saw like my parents do. Like whenever I'm helping my dad like fix the car or something like that, he always have music playing. I just it makes sense because it's like when you're doing something that you don't want to do or doing something that is just not necessarily you don't want to do, something that's just really boring. You could make it a little bit more uplifting or um, maybe not necessarily just uplifting, but maybe even full on productive, i.e., listening to a podcast while you're doing something that needs to be done that you don't necessarily want to do. So that makes sense. Huh. No, yeah.
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 No, you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get it. Well, okay, so we're on the topic of
Yeah.
habits and routines. Do you have any upcoming goals?
So very short term goals right now, what I'm kind of concentrating on,
Mm-hmm.
with the eventuality of once I achieve those short term goals, it'll open me up to start thinking about long term goals. I think there are just some things I need to concentrate on. What I like to say sometimes, there's some things in front of my nose that I need to concentrate on. Having a good mental foundation to be able to think about these more serious and more complex sort of questions that I have that will eventually turn to goals. So, for example, I need to concentrate on just really simple things like having a productive morning routine, having a productive evening routine, eating healthier, working out every day because I used to do that and that actually felt really really good, and etc. And I'm sure there are other things that I need to take a look at as well. But um, all those like little small things I know will inevitably put me in a position where I'm a little bit more of a well-oiled machine thought wise, which will open me up to thinking more about some of these long term goals and what long term goals I need to uh, to to have.
It's a really
So
cool perspective on it. I didn't really think
yeah,
about it like that. Setting yourself up ahead of time and making sure. I mean, I guess I'm
maybe
doing that in some
maybe
ways
I'm
too.
overthinking it, but that's kind of what I'm rolling with right now. It gives me something to think about and do. Plus, it needs to be done anyway.
I like that. The
Yeah.
foundation.
Mhm.
Maybe I should work on my foundation. I have specific things that I want to get done, and I think it'll be kind of like a joint goal type of thing and working on the foundation but
Mhm.
also getting something done. What's on mine is I wrote digital declutter. I feel like my phone,
Sure.
it has so much used up storage,
Yeah.
mainly photos. I never look in my photos.
Yeah.
What's on there? I don't know. And
Mhm.
so I'm going to try probably posting to Instagram a bit more these days.
Plug.
Plug,
Plug.
plug. No, I want to, especially I want to do a collab post with my pet account, the Vandervoort Pets. I have so many pet pics
Yeah.
and my pets are precious. They look adorable. Max is like ugly cute and Lewis is just handsome boy. Them with their powers combined,
Yeah.
I have I have a viral pet account on my hands.
Yes.
I just haven't let it pop off yet. But
What's keeping you?
bro, I don't even want to look at my photos. It makes me so sad. I have like 10,000 photos.
Whoa, that's a lot of
That's a
photos.
lot of photos. And I didn't used to be that way. I don't know why I just started accumulating. I think it's because I see things online, I take a screenshot,
Yeah,
or I
I
just
do that a lot.
whip out my phone, take a picture of like a cute thing happening instead of just like being in the moment and like
Hmm.
savoring it. So I think that's what I'm going to do next is digital declutter specifically with my photos.
Yeah.
And then I can move on from there. And then closing my Etsy shop. That's one
Mm.
that every time I mention it, people were like, "You have an Etsy shop?" And I'm like, "That's why I'm closing it." So I just find that recently I have this cabinet that is full of all of the products that I have, scrunchies, notepads, and meal planners.
Mhm.
And I want that space to put other stuff in my apartment in. But where's all that inventory going to go?
Yeah.
So I need to figure out a plan to just move it and get it out of my life. I'll probably give it to a bunch of friends or something.
Can I ask how much inventory you have?
Oh, girl. Notepads, probably around 40.
Oh, that's not bad. I was thinking
Oh, I don't have hundreds.
like
No.
500 or something
No,
like
I
that.
didn't know if they
Okay.
would pop off, and clearly they didn't. So I ordered in smaller quantity
Okay.
so that way if I wanted to make a new design or pivot or do something, I could do that with ease.
Hmm.
The meal planners actually are fire. I
Yeah.
spent a lot of time on those and I thought they were really well structured and laid out. And I don't even use it right now, though I
Hmm.
should. It kind of goes through okay, look in your pantry, freezer, and fridge. What do you have? Then it has a space for you to say, oh, if I have all this, maybe what could I cook this week?
Hmm.
And then there's the shopping list page. And it's all very cohesive.
Hmm.
And it was what I was doing anyways on just a sheet of paper and then I made a meal planner out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good present for moms. Moms love a meal planner, dude.
Yeah.
My mom loves that meal planner. So I'm going to give her another one.
Well, what do you think about, like, potentially, you can close the Etsy shop and whatnot, but do a whole update and overhaul of everything and start maybe doing some of that stuff again?
No.
As, like, podcast giveaways, maybe?
No.
Oh! Plug. I don't know.
But I feel like my Etsy shop, it's called My Scribble Shop. I
Okay.
wanted it to be called something completely different, but on Etsy, once you open a shop, even if you're not active on it, that name is taken. So someone had a bunch of the names I already chose, and they had no products, nothing. But Etsy doesn't close them down. So I had to come up with this random thing, and my logo is actually pretty cute. It's a little dinosaur writing at a desk. His name is Theodore Teddy Rex. That's
The T-Rex?
the T-Rex. That's my
That's awesome.
That's my little nickname that I gave him.
Yeah.
And he is my mascot. I love him. I would love to have a little Theodore Rex and Biscuit the Cat collab. Logo wise, that'd be cool. But guess what? I have no following on either. So,
not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
So what is the point of a collab? So
Yet.
It's also just like an open thing in my mind. The thing that pops off most on my Etsy shop are my scrunchies. And I added those as a last minute idea. They're very fluffy. They're very cute. And people order them. And I think, why? Why? I don't want to make these. I hate making scrunchies. But I have so much fabric now.
Yeah.
This fluffy fabric. And then no one buys anything else. They don't buy anything else. And that's fine. That's fair. But also, I want to get rid of this inventory. So I put it on half price, and we'll see what happens from there. I'm going to talk about it in another episode with one of my friends, Nisha. We're going to do some more talks about like side hustling and failed businesses and future endeavors and whatnot. But those are kind of my upcoming goals. I feel like I really play into I have the mindset that if my space and environment is cluttered, my mind is cluttered. That helps a lot when I find something in my apartment and I need to get rid of it. Bradley, he has a saying for me in that every item in our apartment has like a 5 to 7% chance of moving every day. So around the That's pretty funny. So around the 3-month mark, I completely redo like our apartment. I move things around. I move maybe the bed to the living room and like the desk to the kitchen or some random.
Not that crazy.
I mean, I'll do it.
Okay.
You can't stop me.
Bend to the hallway, oven into the bathroom.
Yes, if I could, I'd probably try it. I just don't like things set the way they are most times. So, I mean, you've come over to our apartment since we've had the lease, right? It looks different. It's looked different, at least majorly, probably 2 or 3 times.
I'd agree to that. Yeah.
So that's what happens, is that I can't sit still, essentially.
It's not a bad problem to have. Variety is the spice of life.
Okay.
What was
I was like, who said that, Gandhi?
Look, have you ever heard of that before?
Is that a just common phrase?
Yes.
Oh, not
I think
said
so.
by just anyone?
Unless I just like completely flubbed it. See,
no.
Now I'm self-conscious. I don't know if I actually said that correctly.
I think you said it correctly, and I just thought someone famous said it because
I'm sure it was.
I think only famous people say things that are quotable. Whoa. You know what thing I want to have in our next apartment? I want to start decorating more and like having actual like statement pieces. One of them, I read it on a fortune cookie years ago.
Okay.
And it is like my mantra for life ever since. It is, what was it? It said. I was making sure I had the words in the right order. It says, your zest for life is unparalleled.
Ooh, so you're going to hang lemons.
No! I'm going to get a very enlarged
lemon.
No! Oh, no. I'm going to get like a canvas piece of a fortune cookie that says, your zest for life is unparalleled. How did you not see where that was going? I'm not a when life gives you lemons, girl.
Well, zest is like, lemon zest.
But no!
I like the lemon better.
It's all about the fortune cookie.
But what if instead of the fortune cookie, it's a lemon? And
no!
there's a fortune in the lemon.
You don't understand me.
I think I understand you perfectly. that you need to have a lemon.
If you were my interior decorator, we'd be breaking up right now. Gosh, I can't with you.
What other pieces you think?
There is a sign I found on Etsy. Etsy has so many cool products. I go for maybe the less cooler ones, I guess. There is a big poster and it says dramatic exit and then it points to the door.
That's pretty okay. That's
kind of cool.
That is actually pretty cool.
I love that.
That is pretty cool.
There's this one that's very expensive. It's a table and it has like flowers within it, and it's almost made out of a resin. So it's clear, but you can see all the flowers and they look like they're blooming. And that would be a very fun table to have. It would also be nice to have money in my bank account because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, it's insanely expensive.
These are more than likely like independent.
Yes.
Like actual like real makers.
Real creators.
And they're like made to order.
Probably. Made to order. Yeah. And I'm probably only going to be able to afford a coaster from them. So that's one of the things. I might edit this out. But there's a street sign. It's very tiny. Like you could put it on a coffee table.
Yeah. And
it says on the corner of fuck around and find out.
God. You should have like a life size thing of that. And like if y'all invite someone over that's just completely out of order and they're just giving you a tough time, just like, hey, go over there.
Yeah, and just hey, I think the sign says it all.
Let's see. I've shopped around Etsy a handful of times. I got my Solid Days neon LED sign.
It's really cool, actually.
I love that thing. Second is just below it in my apartment. I have a clock that instead of it being like a digital clock with numbers or like an analog clock with like hands and like a second arm, it's actually like a sign that has text on it that literally says what time it is with words on there. And so far I've got a lot of comments on it and or compliments on it, and it's a nice statement piece. I think that's the most statement piece thing that I have around here other than me.
Stop. I do think that you have some pretty cool decor. I think those are the biggest ones. But you have this wall right here just all your own photography. And I mean, you didn't buy it, but it's curated. Like it looks really intentional, and I'm a fan.
Yeah. I let's see. When did I put this gallery wall up? Believe it or not, I didn't have anything up on my walls for like 2 years, I think.
I believe it.
So this was like a completely blank wall, and I was like, you know what? I mean, this was towards the tail end of my first wave of like interest in photography and things of that nature. So all these pictures over here were all taken from the night. It was taken the night of lockdown, and
COVID
lockdown, and that's when my interest in specifically film photography was kind of at a high. And I went from basically like, I need it went from like photography for the art form, but now to photography for documentation, because I mean, obviously lockdown was like that's unprecedented, nothing like that's ever happened before. And so I went out to Deep Ellum here in downtown Dallas, and I went with a friend, and we just went up and down the streets and we just shot pictures and things of that nature. But the interesting part is that I wasn't the only one that had the idea of walking around and also documenting stuff too. I ran into 2 other photographers that were there too. And like across the street, like we knew what we were doing, and we're just like, hey, so like you out here doing stuff? Yeah, like this is nothing like this has ever happened before. And so what was supposed to be a very busy, Main Street, Elm Street, and Commerce Street down Deep Ellum, it was a ghost town, and it was just eerie. It had just rained, and the lights were on, but there was no one there.
That's really ominous.
Was just, yeah, exactly. It was very post-apocalyptic. So that's what all of this is.
I am a big fan, and I also like that you, I don't know, went with a friend too.
Yeah.
It seems like even though it was like COVID times and whatever, it's that you both felt, there's a shift now. There's something
Right.
happening. And I saw some photography online at one point that
Hmm.
would show kind of the biggest tourist attractions in the world during COVID, and they were
Yeah.
just empty, and it was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic and very just what's how the word is surreal, I guess. It
Yes. Yeah.
seemed
Absolutely.
AI generated.
Right.
It seemed fake,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it wasn't.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. A guy that I knew in college, he kind of turned photographer, and I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure if it was him or if it was someone else that I know. But posted a few pictures of like Sixth Street in Austin, which is like a hustle and bustle place usually, but again, completely empty. So I saw in some of those pictures that there's some places that were actually boarded up, like with plywood,
Really?
like for like a hurricane or something
That's
like
so
that.
sad.
Or and it was just like, and the lights were still on. It was just so that it was very jarring, that juxtaposition of, hey, these lights are on and it looks like we're open, but there's no one there.
And there's no way to get in.
Right, exactly.
That's
So
wild.
that's what I kind of wanted to capture with this here. Plus, I mean, at the more general level, it's a huge like white wall. I need to break it up with contrast. So
Yeah, I get that. Well, you were in your photography phase, or it's not a phase, mom, or or your photography era for a hot minute.
Mhm.
Did you ever think about doing it professionally, or was it just more of
I
a
did.
hobby?
I did.
Okay.
I thought about selling prints at one point. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but I thought about selling prints for a little bit. Very briefly thought about doing like small weddings, but I was like, oh, that's absolutely terrifying. I'm not prepared yet to do that stuff from like a file management standpoint. I would definitely need probably like a second shooter, for example, which I would have to like weed around stuff like that, and just dealing with the pressures of weddings in general is be quite challenging because I mean obviously there's the most important parts of a wedding are the obviously the couple and like the officiant and also the family and whatnot, but the photographer is like, if you didn't have any pictures, did the wedding really happen, like
Yeah.
sort of thing, because it's like it's historical at that point and you're capturing moments, and that's something
It's a
that
big
it's
undertaking.
a big undertaking, and I didn't have experience at the time. I'd love to take classes or get some experience doing it, but for right now, I just kind of wanted to just concentrate on just nighttime street photography. That was like
Your niche.
my niche. Yeah, I loved the nighttime and light, playing with light stuff. So
So, for context,
mm,
for everyone who doesn't know, you're an engineer,
yes,
mechanical.
yes.
If you were not an engineer, what do you think another profession would be that you would have
Ooh.
gotten into?
If I would have stuck with the arts, it would have been either music or photography, for
Mm,
sure, or a combination of both. I think I would have walked away from STEM in general, and I would have gone straight to like music or something like
like
that.
drum teaching, because you're a drummer.
There teaching is part of that as well. Now I'm kind of thinking about it. I would love to get into composing and arranging. That would be
Ooh,
really, really, really cool.
what would you compose and arrange, like for actual symphonies or
That would be the
who?
dream.
Okay,
The big like pie in the sky thing would for me would be film score, composing and things of that nature. That would be really, really, really cool.
like a movie or TV
Like
soundtrack.
a movie, or yeah, exactly, like movie or TVs, or maybe even video games too. That would be really, really cool.
That'd be dope.
I would have definitely, because as you mentioned, I'm 7 years in drumline and being a percussionist and things of that nature. I'd love to um, arrange for like a local high school or like a local drum corps or something like that for their percussion parts for their like contest or halftime show. That would be really, really cool. I think that one's definitely a lot closer than obviously the film scoring one, but I think it's the one that I can actually, if I work at it just a little bit on it, maybe not a little bit, but just enough, I think I'd be able to get into that relatively easily. I say relative compared to being scoring for like movies and stuff like that.
I feel like you could do both, James. I see it. I see it. I'm manifesting for you.
Ooh. I feel it already. All right, I'm quitting tomorrow.
No, don't quit. No, don't quit. No, how are we gonna finance? I don't know things.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fine, I'll
keep your job.
I'll keep my job.
Keep your job.
What about yourself? What do you think you would have done if you weren't in the current career path you're in right now?
Yes, current career path. For those who don't know, I work in talent acquisition. Ooh. Hot stuff. I'm not a recruiter, but I'm on the operations side of talent acquisition, which is essentially anything made behind the scenes, process improvement, social media, employee referrals. So I really like what I do. I have something going on all the time. Projects are kind of just thrown on my desk and I have to organize and figure it out. And I really enjoy that process of making something understandable, easy for people to digest, and cohesive, and making everyone's lives easier. I really enjoy that. I was telling someone today that I was originally going to go to school for teaching. I was going to be a teacher.
Oh. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
But when I talked to my dad about it, he was like, I think you'll get bored. I think you'll be good at it, but I think, doing lesson plans and being around kids all the time, I think you'll get bored. And to be fair, I think he was probably right, but now we'll never know. I'll never teach a soul. Another path that I thought about, which looking back, I said it with such ease, like, yeah, I could do this, but then actually thinking about what it would have taken to get there, don't know if I could have actually done it, is become a dermatologist. I had I had interest in skin, in skincare, and I just was like, that's all I need. But then you watch like Dr. Pimple Popper, she's got some severe cases of acne.
And that's like I'm sure like the tip of the iceberg.
That's the tip of the iceberg. That's only what they can show on TV. Yeah. So I don't even know. So kind of teacher, kind of dermatologist. What I'm interested right now in is like health and wellness, right? I'm doing a podcast to like build more community. When friends come to me and they're like, I don't know if I want to do this or that, I love giving advice. I love chatting with people. One of my friends is like, you should be a therapist. And I'm like, I'm actually going to go see one soon. So I don't think I'm qualified just yet. But I like just helping people chat through their life woes.
Yeah.
Usually, I will say, when people are in a place where they want to receive and do something with that information, and that's not everyone all the time, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think in my head, a little delusional, that I could do anything and I would do well at it. Like I literally am like, oh, I could, if I apply myself, I could do anything.
Yeah.
But I just don't apply myself even regularly. So how am I going to do everything? I think that I could have been like a performer. I think I could have been a really good dancer. And now when I go take a dance class on ClassPass, my knees hurt. So my prime time is over for that. If I could...
You shouldn't have skipped leg day.
Bro, I know it?
That's part of the reason. Actually, that's probably all the reason.
We in the biz call that a callback. Yes. 100%.
We in the biz.
We in the biz. That's crazy. That you called me out. No, that's true. That's true. But I think if I took singing lessons, I could have done some sort of singing. You know what I'm not opposed to at the moment? Is working on a cruise ship. Low key, I love a boat. I'm a big fan of a boat. I see the director of the cruise ship when they're like making all the fun plans and activities, and I bet it's a nightmare logistically to coordinate, but I want that to be my nightmare.
There is a YouTube drummer that I follow. His name is I believe it's David Cola. Pretty sure it's David Cola. But this was around the time, I think, when like full-time like gigging musicians in like in LA and New York and everywhere, they would do vlogs of like gig vlogs of any performances or like any gigs that they're doing. He posted this vlog of I think it was like a two-parter or three-parter of him being on like as a cruise ship like musician, and it was it was really intense, but like it was really, really cool to see, giving us a little bit of insight of what being a cruise ship musician is like. And dude, like it's really intense, but it looks really, really fun. Like maybe one rehearsal, and then that's it, and then the first show is like later on. But like if you're a professional musician, you have that much experience, it should only take maybe, depending on the gig, obviously, it should only take 1 or 2 rehearsals, and then you should be good to go. And it was, I mean, he's a really great drummer. It looks really, really cool. All that to say, I think you'd blend in on a as a cruise ship musician,
Yeah,
very well.
I
It's a
think I
really
would
good
like it.
networking opportunity too.
What would I do with my cat? I
You
mean,
bring stage cat.
stage
That's right,
cat.
stage Lewis.
Oh my god, he'd be precious. I think he'd get really seasick, and he likes going on walks.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would work. My dog as well. He's older too, so like I wouldn't try and do anything like cruise ship wise until
Mhm.
a couple years later. But also, my husband probably doesn't want to live on a cruise ship. Haven't confirmed, I'll say that, but probably doesn't want to live on a cruise ship. Okay, TBD.
TBD.
TBD
There's only one
on
way to find out.
TBD on life on the ocean. So I could definitely do that. Or something adjacent to that.
Yeah.
Something adjacent to that. James, I don't even remember what our topic today was supposed to be, but this was such a good conversation regardless. Like,
Yes.
I think chatting about routines and habits and
Yeah.
like productivity, it's a good topic to revisit for any point
Yeah.
in time, because it recenters ourselves, like what matters and stuff.
Right.
But I guess that's the main thing we talked about today, which I'm personally a fan of. Thank you for being on again. This is always so good to like just chat with people. I feel like I get to learn more about people too through these. I mean, it's kind of like I'm interviewing you, kind of not, but like more insightful discussions.
Yes,
More insightful discussions. So I appreciate you coming on. The sign off hasn't changed yet, but it feels ominous to say we press on.
But what else is one supposed to do?
Except press on.
Right.
I don't know. Pray?
That's even more ominous.
That's even more ominous. Okay, no, yeah, we'll sign off here.
Yes.
We press on.
Yes, we press on.